So, like I said earlier, we're focusing on happiness here. Do you feel there's been a lot of change in happiness? And I guess one question, how would you define happiness?
Be content with what you have and don't make too many expectations of what could be better. You can regret things you should have done or things you did you should not have done, but it doesn't do you any good, really. You just have to take life as it comes. I don't think people are as happy as they used to be. There's a lot of hate in the world today, which you know. Unhappiness because things are not the way they want it. And people want changes, and when they want it now. Patience is not a good word. My name is VERA Christensen. I'm 100 years old.
So, how was that though for you? 100 years, how did that feel?
I really don't think about it.
Yeah?
Somebody asked me, how is it to turn 100? So I said, it's just like turning 99. I mean, some people are very hung up on getting to 100. I never think about it, that I want to get to 100. I never did that because what do I know about the future? It's not my problem.
When I take her to her appointments, it gives us times to talk and you know, sometimes she shares about different things from her past and childhood and, you know, how life is now. Of course, you know, a lot of senior citizens, they do have their aches and pains.
I was born and raised in Denmark. We lived through the Second World War, and we were occupied by Hitler for 5 years. They just came in one day and took over. There was a lot of restrictions. There was so much you can't even start telling about it. I did not suffer anything, maybe because I didn't get in the way of them, but there was a lot of underground stuff going on. A lot of things we could not do. No light in the streets in the evening, or it was not a pleasant time, but most of us survived.
She's a real trooper.
I've done a lot of different things to begin with, because when you can't speak the language, you got to take whatever you get. So I worked in the laundry room in a little hospital, and then we moved around, and I got a chance to work for a dentist. So I took my education as qualified assistant, dental assistant. And when we moved back here to Southern California, I worked for many years as a receptionist on a 2 or 3 office. I don't know if you remember George Burns, who was an old comedian. He said one time, "You cannot help getting old." We all do. But you don't have to be old. So I think it's important to keep up what's going on in the news, maybe even politics.
She's kind of on the quiet side, but when you spend one-on-one with her, she opens up, but she gets, she sits at a round table along with 5 other residents, and she's always there at the mealtime, especially for lunch, and always talking amongst each other. So she is sociable in that way. Some residents they don't have a problem getting up and like giving an opening prayer for Vespers or leading out and so on. Well, she wouldn't do that.
And for how long did you work then? When did you retire?
And I was 65, it was in 80, 85, 86.
I wasn't even born yet.
It's almost a lifetime ago. I'm sure Social Security would not like us to be that old.
How much do you feel has changed, both in your life and the world, since you were young? Do you feel like a lot has changed?
A lot of change, absolutely. You can just try to think what has changed in your time. Of course, I would say the last 25 years or more been more change than before. It goes very rapid, You buy a computer today, next week it's no good.
What do you think has been the biggest thing that you've noticed will change?
The biggest thing that happened in my property, the computer.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because when that came in, a lot of things came with it. And still new things. After the computer, then we got the telephone and everything else attached to that. So.
And it will surprise you what the Lord has done. Count your blessings, name them one.
She enjoys coming to all the Vespers programs, whether it's the gathering, the midweek service, which we have on Wednesday night, every Friday evening and Sabbath evening at 6:30. She attends all the Vespers, and she's very faithful.
So I wrote down the words to the 4th verse, because who remembers? And I looked for this song in our hymnal, and it wasn't there even. It's in the old hymnal. Verse 4. So
I'm just happy where I am. That's all I can say. No big up and down. Just take a day as it comes. I depend very much upon the Lord. He gets me through every day. And when you stop to think about it, it's kind of a miracle that you can go to sleep at night and don't know what happens next morning. The whole thing start working again.
She's not afraid to speak her mind about different issues.
I think the young people think that they can get to the top just in one step, but it takes work. And you got to approach life one day at a time. You can't just jump over.
She's very good at voicing her opinion.
You can find happiness if you find some work you like to do, be helpful to other people, and pick your friends the type you should, who would help you and who'll help them. Because today it's very easy not to have the right kind of friends. This is kind of easy. In earlier days, you have to get up in the morning and you got to be ready in a certain time and you set your timing. But nowadays I got to figure the double amount of time because I do things very slow.
She's not a spry young chicken anymore, but she just gets by.
Sometimes get dizzy and have to sit down in between. So that takes all morning to do what you have to do. Get up and shower and all this kind of stuff. But so far I'm happy I can do it by myself. I don't need help for anything.
She's independent, and she uses a walker. I remember there was a time when she wasn't using a walker.
It would be nice if I still had my own home and all this kind of things. But that doesn't happen when you can't help getting old. So things happen.
So I have two more questions.
Oh my goodness.
But she's been, very, patient for the most part, and that's something I appreciate that, and then from time to time, I get a smile out of her, which is nice to see. Sometimes when people get up in years, some still are like Energizer bunnies, they keep going and going and going and going and going, very active, but then some, they slow down a little bit but they still try to enjoy life, and they get to their appointments and all because they want to live healthy and have long life. And the common denominator is having a relationship with the Lord God.
When we just had the boy, he was about 2 at that time. So it was like, is this real or is it not real? And you wonder, all of a sudden, you are alone. So that's where my faith come in from day to day, asking the Lord to come close and give me the wisdom and the strength, because there's a lot of decisions one has to make when you're on your own instead of when you're two. And so that carried me through. And it still does.
And how important is faith in your life for you?
Faith? Very important. It's my main thing. That's what I live by. I don't know what else to say.
That's good enough.
That's it.